No one has been able to figure out the Washington Wizards this season, and that includes the Washington Wizards. They have struggled when they were supposed to succeed, succeeded when they were supposed to have struggled, and even now, a month away from the start of the playoffs, it is completely unclear if they're going to be aggressors, spoilers, or disappointments. Obviously, much of their future depends on the return of John Wall, which is a mystery in itself. Wall had started doing some practice stuff with the team. Now, he could play as early as next week, but 6 of Washington's final 7 games are back-to-backs, and the team is unsure of how restricted Wall will be in those situations, even once he's cleared. And then, of course, there's the biggest unknown, the thing no one in the locker room really wants to talk about, even though, really, it's the only thing to talk about. How do you reintegrate Wall into a team that's been playing a noticeably different style of basketball without him? Now, people who watch this show regularly know that I was never, ever on the Wizards are better without John Wall bandwagon. John Wall is a dynamic, elite talent, and a roster like Washington's just won't get anywhere in the postseason without a dynamic, elite talent. Period. The end. But it certainly was eye-opening when the Wizards sped through February on a 10-3 streak without Wall. The team led the league in assists during that stretch. Bradley Beal shone. Satoransky was cutting more than a steak knife, allowing the rest of the group to be more creative all over the floor. Inevitably, the magic carpet ride only lasted so long. It all comes back to the mean people. And remember, the Wizards are not better without John Wall. The team has now lost 5 of its last 8 games. And honestly, that number should really be 6 of its last 8. They should have lost last night up in Boston because they fell behind by 20 points to a Celtics roster that was so banged up. I mean, Brad Stevens nearly had to suit up and play for this game. He looks good there, right? I think this could have worked.
Where's his neck?
You don't need a neck to play basketball, Jackie. Washington would have lost this game, frankly, if not for Marcus Morris making an absolutely bizarre mistake for a veteran. Seriously, I want you to put yourself back in this situation. The Celtics were up 3 with 5 seconds to go in regulation. What you want to do as a defender there is not one of the great mysteries of our time. You lock down the three-point line. That's it. And yet Morris, for some reason, charged at Otto Porter, leaving Jody Meeks wide open for an easy shot. Now, I do want to say, otherwise, Morris was extremely sharp last night. He really was. But nonetheless, his blunder let the Wizards back in the game and eventually let Washington take the win in double overtime. Afterward, the Wizards celebrated, as deserved, but certainly didn't seem that anyone left the floor last night with a more clear sense of identity. When asked about the team's future, Brad said that first off, John needs to hurry up and get back. And then he added, quote, "We got to trust each other and get back to playing our style of basketball." Of course, he didn't say what that was going to be because, hey, this is Washington. No one actually knows. Did I mention the playoffs start in 30 days? Paul, you played on that team. You played with a bunch of these guys. How do the Wizards reintegrate John Wall? What are they going to look like when he comes back next week?
Well, they're going to be more of an up-tempo team. They won't move the ball as much as they did because John likes to have the ball. He likes to make plays, and rightfully so. He's an all-star in this league. He's a superstar in this league. I mean, the wins are good now. They're piling up. But what's their ceiling for real with no John Wall? I mean, at least with John Wall, you could say their ceiling could be like a conference finals. But without him, they're going to struggle in the first round. And if they have to see Cleveland, which will happen today if the playoffs start, they'll be gone right in 2 weeks after that. So they need John Wall. No question about it. You need your superstars in the playoffs because, for one, your superstars, they the ones who are going to make the plays. Your role players, they're going to have good games here and there, but you need your superstars every night in the playoffs, and that's evident from what we see every single year.
So says a superstar from the
Right.
playoffs.
Well, remember that big Game 6 shot he hit in the series with the Celtics last year, jumping up on the bench. That was a signature John Wall moment. Obviously, they need him. I would say this, though. When he comes back, I do think there's a way for John Wall. He's going to be a little ball dominant because that's who he is. But there's still a way to move the ball and even get the ball back. You've got to keep Otto Porter involved.
You have to.
Because I think if you do, it elevates the value of this team and the dangerousness of this team. Otto Porter's numbers. He's, you know, if you're a fan of Real Plus Minus, he's in the top 6 right now of ESPN Real Plus Minus.
They're paying him as if he should be very involved in this team.
Right.
So you might as well get what you're paying for.
I think that's an adjustment John's going to have to make when he comes back, is to look more for Otto Porter, keep him involved, and I think that makes that team a lot better.
How hard is that, though, Paul? Because, look, these guys have been playing together for a while. Wall has obviously been playing in D.C. for so long. He has a certain set way. And as I said, they've got a bunch of back-to-backs, which he may or may not play in or have a minutes restriction on, right? I mean, that's sort of what they're they don't know yet because it's Washington. They don't know so many things.
Right.
But that they are talking about a minutes restriction or not playing back-to-back. So as a player, Paul, how do you, if you're used to playing a certain way with these certain guys, you've been watching them play differently without you, with limited playing time, how do you adjust before the playoffs start?
Well, this is what he has to do. He has to see what's been working well while you sit out. You can learn a lot when you sit out. You know, I had an opportunity when I sat out the year before we won the championship, and I said, how can I be better? How can I make this team better? He's seeing that right now. You know, he's not going to come back the same player after injury, so he's going to have to sacrifice some of his maybe shooting part of his offense or maybe holding the ball as much as he did before. Now, he sees that. John is a smart player. He understands the game. So I'm sure things will change because he's not going to be the same exact player when he comes back. You have to get back in shape. You have to get back, get the rhythm of the team back. And so the great players, they understand. They figure it out, and he's a great player.
And he's a prideful guy, right? And he does not, even the whispers of, oh, maybe they're better without you. He doesn't like hearing
and
that.
he heard it.
He's motivated by that.
So
Trust me.
he is motivated to not only play well, but to play well within a team concept
Without
because
a
you
doubt.
don't want people to call you selfish or that you're a ball stopper.